Hello everyone and welcome to our tutorial. In this tutorial, we will be we'll be creating a class to go along with our login and registration application. Now, what is a class? A class is a blueprint for creating objects. So think about it this way, right? When I was very young, I came to the UK, came here, started secondary school. But what I noticed here is all the houses here on the streets that I was living all look the same. From the outside, they all look the same. All the streets look the same. So it means that there is a specific blueprint for how houses on that street need to look like, especially in the UK, have houses which look the same. Now, that is what you classify as a class. It's like it's like you're describing details and how something should be. And an object is when we actually create using that blueprint. So let's say, for example, from all those houses that look the same on my street, they were all a blueprint, but each door number or each house is an object which has been created from that class. So we are going to create a class, and we're going to use this class to be the user, like the information that we need from the user, so that we can use it over and over and over again. So take it as that house, those houses on my street, they all look the same. They had one blueprint, and from that one blueprint, about 20 houses were made exactly the same way. So classes help us not to repeat code, but rather we can reuse the same code that's already been created to create multiple objects. So that's the brief description of what a class and an object is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a class for my user. So I'm going to click on my package and go to new Java class. I'm going to call this users. I'm going to call it users. And I'm going to hide this for now, just so that we don't have to see all the time. And then what I need to now think about is, if I'm going to create a class, what are the attributes that I'm going to need for that class? Well, the attribute is going to be the same as what I require from the user, because each user is going to have the same information that I want from them, which is the full name, the email address, the password, date of birth, the phone number, and the bio. But an additional thing I'm going to add on to it is an ID. Now, why do we need ID? Because we need ID because we can have many students. So on my streets that I used to live on, all the houses look the same, but each house had its own number. So that number is what we classify as ID, is what differentiates between those houses. So when you go into somebody's house, you'll be able to know that this is number one, this is number two, this is number three. That's the same thing we're going to do here. In our database, every database tables and databases usually have an ID as well. So that's what the ID is for, so that you can differentiate between each and every single row. And this is very important because at the University of Northampton, we can have many Emmanuels, many Kwasis, many Kofis, many Akosias, many Ames, many Jeffs, many Brandons, many Emmanuels, etc., etc. But the ID is what separates the people, is what makes the people unique about when we're looking for such a student. That's why we carry badges with student IDs on them. So to create my class, what I need to do is create some attributes for my class. So I'm going to create my attributes. So attributes are like some data fields that you're going to have. So first I'm going to create my attributes. So private, I'm saying that each user is going to have an ID, and that ID is going to be an integer. So I'm just specifying the data types of the information that I require from the user. And each user is going to have private string. It's going to have a full name. Now, each full name is of course is going to be of a string. And then private string, email address, private string, date of birth, private string, phone number. You probably be asking, why am I not making the phone number an integer? Because I want to make a phone number. I want to make a string because I find it easier to work when I've created phone numbers that way. And then last one I'm going to create is a private string bio. So these are the information. These are quite similar to the information that we used when we were creating our registration form, because that's what the user is going to have. And I think I'm forgetting private string password. Okay, string Java is case sensitive, so I have to be a capital S. Okay, so now I've created my class with these fields or these attributes that I'm going to use. I need to now create getters and setters. Now, getters and setters allows us to be able to set our these variables that we've just created right now, or these attributes we just created. The get allows us to get what we were going to set it to, and the set allows us to set it to whatever we want to set it to. But Android Studio helps you to be able to create getters and setters. So to do that, all you need to do is right-click into this space, any space you can, click on Generate, click on Getter and Setter, and then I'm going to highlight all of these attributes that I created, and then Android Studio will create them for me. Beautiful. And then I'm also going to create a constructor, which is how I want my object to be constructed. So when I'm creating my object, how do I want to construct it? Well, I want to enter the ID, the full name, the email address, the password, the date of birth, the phone number, and the bio. So I'm going to create a constructor. So ID, email address, password, date of birth, phone number, bio. And then, so when I'm creating my object, what I need to do is the information that's going to require from it is I need to put an ID, a full name and email address, a password, date of birth, phone number, and a bio. So this is how you create a simple class, which we are going to work with in our application. And I will see you in the next video.